So we're finally getting the scraps of the agent structure deck that Japan got last year, and well, people seem fairly excited for it. I'm going to be honest, I was not around when the agents apparently used to be meta, but it's not like I haven't encountered them before. After all, there's a lot of crossover between agents, Parshaft monsters, and counter fairies, which happened to be the first structure deck I picked up when I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh again. God, I really know how to pick them, huh? The main agent monster that caught my attention back then was the Agent of Creation Venus. Summon this and she'll be summoning her balls all over the place. As in, your 3 mystical shine balls. This is pretty good for links, but she was basically unsearchable, so it wasn't really too reliable. They did have other stuff too, but let's be honest, it's Venus that people wanted to try and make work. Fast forward to now, and well, you'll be resolving Venus's effect basically every single turn. How? Well, not with Venus herself, funnily enough. Introducing Master Flare Hyperion, a level 10 synchro that can send an agent monster to the graveyard from basically anywhere, and copy its effect, essentially becoming Venus himself. It's a lot easier to make a synchro monster than it is to get a specific main deck monster onto the field, so this lets you spam materials much more easily. Oh yeah, and it does have another effect where it can banish something as a quick effect in response to an effect activation a la Draco Berserker of the Tenyu. However, if you do want to get to Venus faster, the agent's got a powerful searcher as well. The Sacred Water in the Sky can search any monster that mentions the Sanctuary in the Sky in its text, or just search the field spell itself. Now, if you've ever looked into agents at all, you'll know how often their field spell comes up in their effect text. Sadly, we can't really ditch it, despite the card itself doing, well, basically nothing, let's be honest. Most agent monsters have a first effect, which becomes more powerful if the field spell is live. Now, I know there are some retrains that count as the Sanctuary in the Sky, one of which is new to this set, but they're either slower or less searchable, so we'll actually be sticking to one copy of our AG card. This is because having this card on the field actually gives us a powerful floodgate, Archlord Kristya. The Link 3 Parshaft monster can search any fairy if Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field, and they can also easily special summon it, locking down all special summons while it's on the field. So yeah, we will need to actually search this field spell. However, you won't be searching it with Sacred Waters, since with the new support we actually have a fun combo that searches it for you. First up we have Neptune, who can discard itself to special summon any other agent monster from the hand. It's a great way of getting Venus out if you do draw her. Then, if it's banished, it'll search Sanctuary in the Sky for you. So yeah, that's nice, but how are you doing that? Well, we also have a new main deck Hyperion monster, Majesty Hyperion. It just so happens that it can summon itself from your hand or graveyard by banishing an agent monster from your hand, field, or graveyard. It has some other effects like being able to banish a card in the graveyard, or guess what, 2 if you have the field spell. But basically yeah, it's a high level material that banishes Neptune to search the field spell. That leaves us with one last detail. How do you get Majesty Hyperion into the graveyard? Well, we now also have a Link 2 monster that does exactly that. Or it searches Earth if you already have a field spell, I suppose. So with all of these new cards, you can very consistently make the Link 3 Parshaft monster with a field spell, searching Archlord Kristya and special summoning her. And that's already pretty good compared to what non-Drytron fairies were doing until now. But that's only the very basics of what they can do. They're a pretty competent synchro deck at this point, being able to make cards like Baronne very easily. Since they also get so many cards on the field, it isn't difficult for them to make a bunch of good generic links like Appaloosa. Honestly, there's a ton of creativity that can go into their combos and their end boards, including doing some funky stuff like getting out their new level 5 synchro, Pluto, and using it to flip down your own Archlord Kristya during your turn, letting you special summon again for a turn before flipping it back up at the end. It's the kind of deck that I think people will experiment with a lot, and discover cooler combos as time goes on. Since none of their cards really restrict you into anything either, they'll only get better with any good generic synchro or link support that comes out in the future. Basically, it's a deck to keep an eye out on, because it will only get better as time goes past. But if you want a good starting point for it, keep watching for the deck profile. So here's an example of an agent's deck. It's designed to showcase a ton of the interesting interactions this deck can do, but if any part other than the main combos don't interest you, you can cut those for more hand traps, board breakers, or whatever you really want. What you will want, however, are the 3 Agent of Creation Venuses and her Shine Balls. Starting with her in the hand is already pretty good in itself, but will otherwise either be searched or sent to the graveyard with the Flare Hyperion. Drawing the balls isn't great, but she can summon them from the hand, so they're only really soft garnets, resulting in a bit of loss in hand advantage. Then we have the Agent of Destruction Venus, who is definitely optional, but it's a nice option to have. You'll basically use her if you can make both Master Flare and Venus on the board, and since you won't need to send a copy of Venus with Master Flare, you can instead use him to copy this card's effect for another 3 materials. Then for our other agents, run 3 Earth, 3 Neptune and 2 Uranus. Earth is one of your 2 good normal summons, the other being Diviner of the Heralds, and she searches any other agent, usually Venus or Neptune, depending on what you don't already have. Neptune discards to summon Venus so that you can banish it, and Uranus is an extender that's also an agent with a flexible level, helping make whatever synchro you want to run the most. Then I opted to run 2 Majesty Hyperion and 1 Master Hyperion, who's fairly good at picking apart boards when going second. Then we have Kristya, who you'll want to search and end your boards on most of the time. Following that, I opted to run Protecting Spirit Lurgareth at 3. You might rather run more hand traps instead, but I quite like this card, especially going second. It's a free special summon as long as any fairy activates an effect on the field, and then it can banish a card your opponent controls at the simple cost of changing one of your monsters to defense position. It's also a high level fairy material, so it helps make your level 10 synchros. Next is a package that makes your deck so much more consistent. 3 Diviners, 1 Trias Hierarchia, and 1 Buten. Diviner sends Trias, who tributes Diviner, who then summons Buten. That's enough to make one of your level 10 synchros, with the added bonus of Buten being able to turn one of your fairies into a tuner during your combos, either for Hulk plays or just to make more synchros. Finally, since we're running so many fairies, it felt right to use Herald of the Orange Light since it's a negate and a destroy of any monsters anywhere, which is very strong even if you do need to discard another fairy. For our spells, Sacred Water is one of the most important, being a searcher for basically anything you need. Then we have 3 Pot of Avarice. It's a bit greedy, but it allows you to shuffle back all of your Shine Balls, and so if Venus is still on the field, you can just summon them all over again. Oh yeah, while letting you draw 2 of course. Foolish Burial is good for Buten or Neptune or even Majesty Hyperion. Sanctuary is our agent mandated field spell, and the combo of Lost Sanctuary and Divine Punishment is basically an alternative search for the Link 3 Parshath, if you either don't want to or can't go into Kristya. Now for the extra deck. There's a lot of room for flexibility here, so if you find some interesting combos that aren't here, there are a lot of cards you could probably substitute if you wanted to. This is what I went with though, and it works pretty well. Master Flare and Baronne are your Synchro 10s, which you can make in a variety of ways, and even make both of them in one turn fairly often. Then there's Pluto, who you could make normally, or since it's a Synchro tuner, you could also summon it with Hulk if you didn't summon Kristya. Same as Formula Synchron, who also gets you a draw and can go into Arclight, or even Baronne was the right field. Speaking of Arclight, it's very easy to make with 2 Shine Balls, one of which was turned into a tuner thanks to Buten. For your links, your sheer amount of materials can help you make an Underworld Goddess fairly easily, although you will have to turn some of them into effect monsters. On the upside, it's removal for anything at least. Same as Appaloosa, it will give you a ton of interruptions, but you do need to turn the Shine Balls into something else. To help with making your Shine Balls either having different names or to become effect monsters, we have Imdak and Herald of Mirage Lights. Imdak could also just be a Link Spider, it really doesn't matter. Mirage Lights can also be a spell or trap negate if you have spare fairies in the hand. Next we've got Celestial Nightlord Parshath, who you'll be getting to quickly to search Kristya. And then we have 2 Moons since it's a useful combo piece, but also good just for linking fairies away if you need to. Making one of them turn 3 can also let you destroy something, which can be fairly useful sometimes. Replace the second one with something like a Link Spider if you really want to. Then Hulk is useful in 2 ways, either getting a tuner out to climb into something like an Appaloosa, which is also your other way of getting Buten into the graveyard for its fairly useful effect, but Hulk is also here for summoning Pluto or Formula Synchron during your opponent's turn. IP Masquerader is also something easy to make with your Shine Balls, comboing into a unicorn, but of course if you decide to go for either of these plays, plan ahead and don't go for Kristya. Instead search more combo pieces or something like a Divine Punishment for a board with more interruptions. And so that's the deck, but now allow me to show you some of the combos that you can do with it. So first, I'll be showing you 2 specific combos that you can go for with this deck, and after that I'll show you a few test hands just to see how much this deck can combo. But first, if you've been enjoying this video so far, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. This first combo requires Earth, Venus and a discard. Sacred Water makes this combo a lot more flexible, since it works if you draw that instead of either monster, and also allows you to search Venus with Earth instead of searching Neptune if you already have it. Overall, while it looks specific, it's actually fairly flexible. So you start by normal summoning Earth, who searches Neptune. That will discard itself to summon Venus, who starts summoning all of your Shine Balls. Venus and a Shine Ball go into Moon, who sends a Majesty Hyperion. He banishes Neptune to summon himself and search the field spell. Play it and then make a Baronne, using another ball to make a Parshath. He will then discard to search a Kristya, and then we need to get a fairy off of the field to summon it, and the easiest way to do that is to make an Imdak, so we summon that. That will trigger Parshath, banishing anything to summon Kristya, giving you an Omni Negate and a Floodgate stopping all special summons. This second combo involves our other normal summon, Diviner, as well as any Hyperion and a discard. Normal summon Diviner, sending Trias. Use it to tribute Diviner, who triggers to summon a Buten. Those two make a Majesty Flare Hyperion, who can send Venus to gain her effect to summon 3 Shine Balls. Two of them make a Moon, who will send a Neptune, and now we can summon the Majesty Hyperion by banishing Neptune, getting the field spell in the process. Now Buten can make one of the Shine Balls into a tuner, before we link the Synchro into a Parshath. That discards to get Kristya to the hand, and then we can Synchro summon a Baronne to trigger Parshath, getting Archlord Kristya onto the field. We managed to end on the same board as last time, even though we had a completely different starting hand. Now on to the test hands. Having Orange Light and Hyperion in hand is fairly good, since Hyperion is fine if it's in the graveyard, and so if we were Ash Blossomed we would have a way to stop it. We start with Sacred Waters, getting Uranus since we have everything else we need. Earth searches Venus, which will summon with Neptune's discard. She'll then make all 3 of the Shine Balls, which will immediately link into a Parshath. Majesty summons itself by banishing Neptune, getting Sanctuary, which we play before Synchro summoning into a Master Flare Hyperion. Since the Shine Balls are in the graveyard, we'll instead use Agent of Destruction Venus to bring back all 3 of the Shine Balls. 2 of them make a Moon, who searches Earth to use as discard fodder, and then we summon Uranus thanks to the field spell being up. Parshath discards Earth for a Kristya, and then we Synchro summon into a Baronne using our remaining fairies to trigger the Link 3 and get our Floodgate. Your opponent can now no longer special summon, they have to deal with an Omni Negate, they'll also have to deal with a quick effect Banish from Hyperion, and next turn we'll have Moon lined up to destroy a card. Finally, I wanted to show you a hand with Pot of Avarice in it. Since we already have Venus, Sacred Waters searches Neptune, who discards itself to summon that Venus. She makes her Shine Balls, and will link 2 of them into a Moon to send Majesty. He'll banish the Neptune to summon himself and search Sanctuary. Then we make a Parshath to get all of our Shine Balls into the graveyard and trigger his effect, discarding Herald to get 5 monsters into the graveyard while searching Kristya. Pot of Avarice now shuffles back those 5 monsters, allowing Venus to summon 3 Shine Balls yet again, while also drawing us another Neptune and a Trias Hierarchia. We then turn one into an Imdak and change its name, before making a 4 negate Appaloosa, and then we can normal summon a Neptune to make a Mirage Light. So we end on a board that stops all special summons. Also having a spell and trap negate was the proper discard fodder, as well as 4 monster negates and an Omni negate counter trap for no real cost. And so that's the deck. Will you be powering up your fairy deck with these new cards? Tell me in the comments below, and while you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe. Special thanks to my tier 3 patron, Distran, as well as my tier 2 patrons, Jason Murat and Violet Rain. The link to that is in the description. Thanks for watching!